Good morning and happy Wednesday. Welcome back to the Daily Grind. I'm your host, Chum Change. This is live and recorded. For anybody that might be new here, what we typically do is go over crypto news or news in general in the space. I update myself, bring you guys along for the ride. Let's see who's here in the chat. And then we'll get into this. Mr. All Set, Steven Cicero, you sick bastard. Appreciate you for being here. We got the veteran miner in the house, Chris Hanley, Michael Stewart, Peepaw Bill. What's up, man? Good to see you. Backwards Miner, Sustainable Crypto. What's up, dude? Nismo, good to see you. Chris Hanley, Andrew Masad, Crypto KJ. What's up, man? Good to see you. Crypto Mikkel, good morning, sir. Good morning. Let's see if I missed anybody. I probably did. I apologize if I did. But Black Hat Team, what's up, man? Dom G, Max Voltage, good morning, sir. Good to see you, buddy.
Perfect.
Good to see you. All right, let's get into this. Yeah, it's gonna be like 96 degrees out today. It's gonna be brutal. Anyways, Bitcoin $65,283. We got Ethereum at 35.52, coming up about 4.26%. Not too bad. Everything gives you a little bit better of a feeling when you see a little bit of green and it's not just all red. But we're still pretty much down as we were yesterday. Gaspa 14.5 cents, get 88.38 cents. Solana 138 bucks. XRP is at just about 50 cents, 49.5 cents. LTC is at 73, almost $74. ETC is at 23.91, almost $24. Let's see, near protocol is up to $5.05, up 8.48% on the day. Mr. Crypto KJ, dude, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Sun lotion fund, thank you. Thanks for specifically saying sun in front of the lotion part, just in case, and all people will take that the wrong way. Pepe over here up 10% on the day. We got Shiba 3.61% up on the day. Again, Dogecoin 12.5 cents, just about. Everything's just kind of floating along. I guess this stuff over here, Uniswap's up a bit on the day. Link's up a bit, $10 to Uniswap. Link's $14. Lido, which is up to $2.38. Yeah, nothing else really jumping out at me. Let's jump over to Crypto Bubble, see what we're looking like over here. All right, we got biggest earner on the day. Which one is it? Looks to be Lido. DAO over here. Again, $2.38, 21.5% up. We have ENS over here up 21.3%. Ethereum name service, that's up to $26.49. Fetch AI is up 21.1% to $1.39. You know what? I was thinking about getting into some Fetch AI as well. I probably should get into that a little bit. Render's up 12.7% today. Nice. Almost $8. We're at $7.90. I think Render's going to do extremely well on this bull run. BitTensor over here, ranked 43, up 18.2%. $312. I have not invested anything in BitTensor, but I probably should, to be honest. Phantom's up 14.8%, 56 cents today, 56.5. Yeah, that's really nothing else jumping out at me. I guess Brett's up 20%, 14.9 to 14.9, almost 15 cents. Nice. Jasmy's down to 2.2% to 3 cents. Interesting. All right, let's see. Flashbang over here. Fear and Greed Index 64 in the greed chart, which is interesting because yesterday we totally should have seen 64, but
Perfect.
I think this is great, to be honest. This is where we need the market to be right now for this sideways action. So I guess we'll have to see. You guys know I don't care about that till over 75. All right, let's jump into CoinGecko over here. We're gonna see what's trending. We got ZK Sync over here, 13% up on the day. Don't even know what that is. Tashi? It's kind of a funny name. 8.9%. I'm assuming that's a meme coin. It looks like a ghetto squirrel or something. Wish I could see that. It's like a super cat or something. I don't even know. Weird. Anyways, and then MAGA Hat is up 31.7%. Crypto KJ, I hate you and love you at the same time.
Perfect.
Thank you for the $2 super chat. Private lotion fund for those only nights. Oh, I hate you both. You and Steven Cicero just kill me sometimes, you know that? All right, top 10 coins by coin market cap over here on CoinGecko. We got Bitcoin, Ethereum, Tether, BNB, Solana, Lido Staked Ether, USDC, XRP, Dogecoin, and Toncoin in 10th place. Cardano is in 11th. trailing behind Toncoin about $3 billion, a little over $3 billion. Crazy. I think Cardano is going to do extremely well. It's having a steep pullback lately though, which is pretty rough, but it's about 80% or so, a little more down on, or from its all-time high rather. So let's see, did somebody ask if the stock market's open today? Yeah, Sam Fisher. I'm not sure actually. Are they open on, this is Juneteenth, right? This is the holiday. My wife has it off. All government jobs have it off. Yeah, shut up, Max. I know. Thanks. I'm not sure. I don't think it is. Yeah, no, it's not. All right. Thank you, Crypto Mikkel and Steven Cicero. Again, Crypto KJ, thank you so much for the super chat. Miss my man DJ. Hopefully he's doing well over where he's at. All right, let's see. Near Protocol, 21st place over here. I think Near is one of those ones that's going to do pretty well as well. We're going to have to see. Again, with all these ETFs coming out, Bitcoin, Ethereum, what's going to be next? Probably Solana, probably some sort of top 10. I don't know if XRP is going to actually get one, but I guess we'll have to see. Yeah, who knows? Who knows, really? Ethereum Classic in 30th place. Look at that, $3.5 billion market cap. We got Caspa, 32nd place at a $3.4 billion market cap. Render is at a $3 billion market cap in 35th place. HBAR, is anybody into HBAR? Let me know. 8 cents right now. I guess in the past 24 hours it's up 7.7%, $2.8 billion market cap. That's really it, man. That's really it. All right, let's move on to the mining segment of things. See what we're looking like over here. Most profitable miners on the day. You guys know I like to timestamp this stuff. We got the Bitmain KS5 Pro 21 terahash unit making 69.61 per day, which is it's all right. 5.5 months to ROI on that thing, or break even rather. KS5 20 terahash unit making 66.30 a day. We got the KS5M 15 terahash unit making 46.96. Again, this is mining Caspa, all after 10 cent per kilowatt hour. That is your take home money after you pay your electric bill. We have the Gold Shell AL box over here, 360 gigahashes at 180 watts. This thing's honestly amazing for what it is. And I'm still shocked that it's holding $36 a day. What is the lithium looking like right now? Let's see. Lithium. It's up 2.2% on the day to $1.59. Good. At least it's up, man. But it's only ranked 349th, which is crazy. $129 million market cap. So this is like, see, this is one of those coins that could do extremely well if it takes off, because the market cap's really low. A lot of money could come into it easily. Like even just get to $1 billion, that's almost a 10x, right? So it's yeah, I mean, it could be a good gamble for some people, but at the same time, I don't know if the next miner comes out right now or soon, it's going to be a problem. It is absolutely going to be a problem for this project. The KS5L from Ice River over here, 12 terahash unit making 35.94 a day. We got the Dragon Ball miner and the BMKS Max 11 terahash units making $30.43 a day. We got the Wind miner K9 10.3 terahash unit making $29.93. The KS3 8 terahash unit making $21.27. We got the L9 over here from Bitmain. This is the Dogecoin and Litecoin miner. Actually, I think this can triple mine bells as well, if I'm not mistaken. $20.11 a day. I don't know if this is considering the triple mining or if this is just merge mining Litecoin and Doge. I still don't understand why they don't have a Doge logo here, but nonetheless, that's pretty decent, right? But it is a 19-month ROI at this price, which is not really that great. We got the KS3M 6 terahash unit over here making $13.89 a day. Bruh. That's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. We got the Antminer L7 9050. This is the 95. Sorry, my 9050 over here is making $8.11 per day. Down to Terra Hosting. Shout out to them. You guys know I got this hosted because I can't run it here. My electric rate's way too high, but this is this 3-year-old unit, man, still kills it every single day. I absolutely love it. The X16P, this is the unit we tested. Shout out to Jingle Mining, actually. 5.8 gigahash unit, $8.04 a day. Not too bad. All right, let's see what else. We got the K7 CKB over here making $7.54 a day. The 63.5 terahash unit. Not too bad. The Ice River KS2 2 terahash unit making $4.47 a day. Crazy. Nismos, a 10 ASICs probably would sink the coin. Yeah. Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Lithium's gonna have a hard time when that ASIC comes out, I'm telling you right now. The Gold Shell KA box. This is one of those units that I wanted to get my hands on, but now I don't think it's worth it. Looking at the KSO Ultra, right? We have 1.18 terahash unit, 400 watts at $3.38. Where is the KS0 Ultra? Right here, 400 gigahashes at 100 watts. So you get 3 of these things. You get 100 less watts and you get the same amount of terahash. And it's making $1.23 a day, which is kind of crazy. The KS1 is only making $2.23 a day. Bruh. That's terrible. That's terrible. Man, they stopped making those anyways. KS1s, KS2s are gone, if I'm not mistaken. Where is the X16Q? Right here, X16Q, $2.75 a day mining ETC and Zillis, the 1950 megahash unit. I still love this thing. This X16Q is still one of my favorite miners for sure. It's super quiet. It's got Wi-Fi. It's just so easy for a brand new miner to get in on it. I think the price should probably come down a little bit, but to be honest, it really is a great miner for what it is. It's definitely way worth it more than those. What the hell is that thing? What the hell is that heater? That stupid S19 heater they were trying to scam people with. The heat bit, don't buy that thing. The thing's a piece of shit. If you're gonna buy a heater or some sort of miner for a heater, please go with like an X16Q or something. Anyways, Luke, thanks for being a member for 6 months, dude. I made it. Good to know you for 6 months. It's been magical. Oh, Luke, you're awesome. I appreciate you, dude. He is the man that sent me that Ubiquity switch, so you are the best. I appreciate you, buddy. All right, the KS0 Pro, you guys know I got these in the solar trailer. I got to get my stuff situated today. I got to actually finish that video. I didn't have a chance to finish recording last night, so after this I'm gonna go record all my solar stuff and drop that video at some point. But 200 gigahash unit, 100 watts, making 50 cents a day. Obviously, after paying 10 cents kilowatt hour, I have free electric, so I don't have to worry about it, obviously, with the solar stuff. But nonetheless, I should be getting like 75 cents or so a day, if I had to guess, on each one of these. So that times 10, $7.50 or so, which is pretty lame right now. But with the price of Caspa moving, hopefully that changes a bit. The original KS0 is only making 21 cents a day. That's terrible. All right, let's see. Anything else? Man, these, you know what? I just have to like say this. These gold shell mini Doge 3s, these mini Doges have not been a good investment at all. That's just my personal opinion. I bought them. They were on for like maybe 6 months, and then all of them, not these ones. I got the original ones way back, right? But they don't make enough for what they draw, right? So you guys need to be mindful of that. Regardless of how cheap the units are, it's not always a good idea. You know what I mean? So just be careful. I mean, nonetheless, you guys make your own decisions. You're all big boys and big girls at the end of the day. All right, S19K, last thing I want to look at. This is my Bitcoin miner down at Terra Hosting, and I am going to pay this thing back. Never. Bruh. It's making negative 31 cents a day at 10 cents per kilowatt hour, and that's mining BCH, so which means it's worse for Bitcoin, and that's 120 terahash unit. Yeah, he must be close to shutting off. I wonder if King is, because his S19J Pros can't be doing that well. He's got the 95 terahash unit, if I'm not mistaken. But man, yeah, even 2 cents less than that for Bitcoin. Damn, crazy. All right, let's move on to GPUs. See what the most profitable GPUs or coin is on GPUs rather. Graham over here, Ironfish and Pyron, top of the charts. The 4090, we got Ironfish for the 170HX. We get the 4080 Super, Graham, Ironfish and Pyron, pretty much all the way down the list as far as I know. 3080 actually on Zealous, Ironfish and Graham. Nice. 3080 Ti on Zealous, Ironfish and Graham. 3090s on Xano and Zealous. Interesting. So it looks to me consensus Zealous, Ironfish and Graham to some extent, in Xano mixed in. Oh, Dynex 3090 Ti. Interesting. What's Dynex looking like actually? Oh, Dynex 4.9% up today, 71 cents. Nice. You know what? Dynex has a really low market cap as well, 65 million. So this could easily, if this blows up, if Dynex blows up, then you know what, you guys can make some real gains, because it's pretty easy to move something, and coins that you or it's pretty easy to move something that has this low of a market cap, but coins that are this high on the stage are like on the you know, from the ranking like 1 to or 0 to 1,000 or whatever, anything that's like, you know, in the 500s, you have a really good chance to 2x your money easily. But again, you got to take calculated risks. That's pretty much the way you got to look at it. Everything else, Iron Fishing Graham, seems like that's the consensus here. All right, XMR back on the top of the charts, kicked out Zephyr over here. Interesting. I wonder how bad Zephyr's doing. Let's see. Zeph. Oh, that is not Zeph. Pick a type. That'd be nice. Wait, Zeph's up 10.9% and it's still doing shitty. What? Oh my god. Is this project dead or what? I can't believe this thing hit 50 cents. $50. That's crazy. That is crazy. Damn, he has his S19Ks downclocked, way more efficient than stock numbers. Interesting, Crypto Craig. Yeah, but he doesn't have Ks though, does he? Does he have S19Ks or does he have Js? I forget. Chris Hanley said, good call, Rabid. Why? What did Rabid say? What did he say? I've never been a fan of this project personally, but again, there's nothing against it. I'm just not. I didn't really see it going anywhere. XMR is the OG privacy coin, so that's where I would stay with. But anyways, moving on. Miningpoolstats.stream. Let's see what we got. New coins over here. Scoof. What the hell is Scoof? Did I see this yesterday? Scoof? I don't remember this one. Oh, maybe I do. Damn. Want to see the site. Nope, I don't remember this one. This one's definitely different than what we looked at yesterday. Scoof. First meme fork of Zealous. Oh wait, no. Did they change this from yesterday? Is this the same thing? Oh no, this is. Yeah, I looked up this word. This is the same one. Did they change this though? I feel like this looks different. Weird. Meme coins. Not for me. Not gonna get into those. You can make money off them, but you can also lose everything. So please be careful. Yeah, that's it. No new coins. Events calendar over here again. CAU hard fork in 4 days if anybody's interested. And then yeah, nothing really matters until we get down to Veriscoin 197 days from now, but that doesn't make a difference to us. All right, let's get into the news of the day. How Nvidia surpassed Microsoft and Apple to become the world's most valuable company. Let's see what they got to say over here on CNBC television. Guys, hit that like button. Appreciate you for hanging out. Let's do it.
NVIDIA's rise was super quick.
Record highs, record closes for the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ as NVIDIA hits a record of its own.
Another day, another record for NVIDIA. If you look at when ChatGPT was first announced, that was the fall of 2022. So it's a really, really fast rise in a very short amount of time.
Apple took 1,793 days, or less than 5 years, to go from a $1 trillion company to a $3 trillion company. NVIDIA says, hold my beer. They did the same thing, 1 to 3 trillion, in less than a year.
Damn.
When ChatGPT came out, NVIDIA was worth less than $1 trillion. Then 6 months, 7 months after ChatGPT, in May of 2023, it hit $1 trillion. And at the time, people were starting to realize that if AI was a gold rush, NVIDIA was the one making the shovels. The NVIDIA craze just never stopped. It hit $2 trillion in February of this year.
It's been an absolute incredible run, but it has been absolutely backstopped by the fundamentals.
6-8 months later, its value has already doubled. And then from $2 trillion, it only took just over 3 months for it to hit $3 trillion.
It's really tough to get to 3 trillion. That said, though, if you're designing the perfect momentum company from scratch, NVIDIA would be it.
They're making a lot of money for each one of the chips they sell. These are very profitable devices.
We see the orders for GB200. We see the orders for the B200. Nothing is slowing down.
There may not be a chip that's really competing or challenging its flagship H100 or the forthcoming GB200, but the competition is coming. Intel talked about its AI accelerator and said it was going to be much, much cheaper than NVIDIA's. Now, there may still be performance questions and that kind of thing, but if it's that much cheaper, everyone's going to take a look at it because it can save them a lot of money. And it's not just Intel. AMD is coming with a GPU. All of the biggest customers, which include Microsoft and Meta and Amazon, they're developing their own chips too. Everyone is looking to save money because these NVIDIA chips are quite pricey.
6 months ago, you'd sometimes hear folks say, well, I like AMD as a comeback kid, and they're going to be kind of second on the wave of the AI crash that NVIDIA started. And I think what we've seen, especially in the last couple of weeks, when you've looked at HPE's results or Dell's results, NVIDIA is really just sucking up the profits and the gross margins in this space to the tune of something like 75%. And others are happy to come along for the ride, hoping to sell other services afterwards, but they are getting the dominant share, so don't mess with success.
So competition is definitely the biggest challenge for NVIDIA. Not only do you have its customers and its rivals, you also have hundreds of millions of dollars, maybe billions, going into venture investment for new companies that are doing nothing but aiming at NVIDIA's crown.
But here's what I think about the competition.
Dude, look at that thing. Did you just see that thing? Oh my God. What in the world is happening here? That's insanity. Look at all those power cables going into this thing. Dude, that's unreal. God damn.
I think NVIDIA will stay ahead. It's a very, very big pie. AMD is a well-regarded company. They will get a slice. But NVIDIA will still stay top dog. Intel is a company, at least on the manufacturing side, that has been the gang that hasn't been able to shoot straight for about 20 years now, Joe. And so I think that they will make a comeback in PC-oriented CPUs, but all their claims about AI, maybe they get there, but I will believe it when I see it.
To keep everything in perspective.
Yeah, the water-cooled server rack is cool until they spring a leak. That's a bad day.
NVIDIA's sales, even though they've tripled in the last year, are still far, far short of Microsoft's annual sales and Apple's annual sales. And they have really nice, durable margins too. It's hard to see NVIDIA replacing Apple or Microsoft in the technology ecosystem, but could it take the crown of most valuable US company? Yeah.
I assume they're not power cables. I realized that after I said it. They're probably just like Crypto KJ said fiber optic cables, but they're probably just some sort of communication cables.
I think that's possible.
Interesting. CNBC, thank you for that. All right, let's move on to over here, renters. Why rent prices are on the rise. I just want to kind of get a grasp of like all the ish that's going on in the space. So Yahoo Finance over here with this. Let's see what they got to say.
Well, rents all over the country are rising, and that's threatening the wider moderating inflation story. For more on this, we've got Yahoo Finance's Danny Romero here in studio with us. Hey, Danny.
Brad, renters can't catch a break. I mean, it's hard to get into the housing market, and now the rental market is also looking like a dilemma here. Rents are rising in the Northeast and also in the Midwest. But remember, rents usually go up during this time of year because people like to take advantage of the warmer weather. But it's also important to point out that rent growth, rental inflation, asking rents for new leases remains flat over the past 12 months. That's because there's been so much supply that has been added to the market, so that has pushed rent prices to cool off. But remember, big landlords are actually taking advantage of this strong job growth that we have seen in the labor market. So they have been increasing on renewed leases by about 4% or more. But remember, higher rent prices, that does complicate the picture for the Federal Reserve, who has been pretty much counting on housing costs to come down. And then there's another side to this supply issue too, Brad. Large apartment owners have said that renters aren't moving out because they're buying a home, because the housing market is so difficult right now, right? We have limited inventory in the housing market, high mortgage rates, and also high home prices. So that's keeping a lot of people in the rental market longer. So that means there's really strong demand for rents.
Wow. All right. So we've also got home builder Lennar out with second quarter earnings, even as we're thinking about this broader home economy right now. Home builder citing the choppy mortgage rate environment as a headwind. So can you tell us what the earnings report is really saying about the housing market?
Higher mortgage rates is still going to be a dilemma for the housing market. Home builders like Lennar have been offering incentives like the mortgage rate buydowns. That's when the builder upfronts the cost to lower the rate on the loan to really help buyers jump back into the market. Lennar reported, though, a better than expected second quarter earnings. Their revenue rose 10% to $8.8 billion. But you know what really helped them? They cut home prices. The average home delivered was $426,000 in the second quarter. That is down 5% from last year. But again, the overall theme here is that the same factors, the high mortgage rates, the low inventory, really is going to be kind of a difficult macro picture for these home builders looking ahead, because mortgage rates haven't come down and there still is this demand out there.
Dude, mortgage rates are insane. What are you guys paying for your rate? If you guys want to put it in the chat, feel free. It's kind of crazy. We got like a sick deal on ours like 3 years ago. What do we got? Like a 2.26, I think. 2.61 or something. Stupid low. Like I'll never see that low again in my life. 0 doesn't count. You don't have a if you don't have a mortgage, it doesn't count. All right, let's see. No question, American markets are capturing a lot of international money, says Ellen Hazen. That's how you say her name. Let's see what they got to say over here on CNBC television. Let's do it. Hit that like button, guys. Appreciate you for hanging out.
For more on NVIDIA, the mega cap trend, and more, let's bring in Ellen Hazen. She is Senior VP and
Congrats, the one who was. That's amazing. Doing your house. Good for you, man.
Portfolio Manager at FL
Someday,
Investment
I wish.
Management. And did you schlep all the way down here from Boston just for us, or I hope you were doing client stuff?
No, 100% for you.
Really? I love that. Congrats on your Celtics, by the way. You should have worn green today, Ellen, I think.
I should have.
I was just trying to put the stats in ways, because the numbers are so big that it's incredulous. What do you make of this run?
I think that artificial intelligence has been growing by leaps and bounds. You look at it, and it's not just that NVIDIA's stock is up, but NVIDIA's revenue is up. NVIDIA's earnings is up. I'm reminded of back in 2011 when Mark Andreessen wrote that famous piece, Software is Eating the World. I think that's what we're beginning to see here. That was the same time when Apple outstripped Exxon, Mr. Energy Guy, at the same time, right? And Apple has had a 25% CAGR for the last 12 years since then. We're at the beginning of something which is really big. And NVIDIA is at the center of it, not only because of chips, but also because of software, because of the developer environment, because of all the developers they have. So this can keep going for a while.
Listen,
wait, so is NVIDIA up since the split? I assume it is, right? Is that what was it at? I forget, like 100 and something, $110 when it split ish.
I cannot own individual stocks.
I'm not into it, so
but
let me know.
I can own the S&P 500, like in my 401k plan. So I like that this is happening because it drags, to my point, I don't have to own NVIDIA. I'm getting kind of a benefit.
112? That's awesome. Hell yeah. It's like $20 a share. Good for you guys. That's sick.
It's just a broad market owner. How much of this, though, do you think, and you could speculate, global money coming to us? And the reason I made the Germany comparison is that it feels like America's the place to be investing-wise. And I've got to imagine we're capturing a lot of international money.
There's no question, right? America has the most innovation, the most innovative technology companies. It has the most dynamic capitalist system. It has the most dynamic labor market. There's no question that American tech has been the place to be for 25 years, and that's going to continue to happen. Now, investment dollars will come and go. They'll go to different places. Some of them will go to Europe when that gets back on its feet. Right now, it's looking the other direction, though. And so I think you can continue to see money flowing into the U.S. tech market.
Your job is also to analyze and mitigate risk, right? And this is awesome to watch. I mean, this is like one of those moments in history we're going to look back on and be like, where were you when this occurred? Is there anything not related just directly to NVIDIA, Ellen, just macro-wise that has you, your job is to just be vigilant, right?
I think the biggest thing that we're watching in terms of possible risks is, does the consumer weaken? And we've seen the JOLTS numbers, which I know you like to look at.
You do watch the show. I appreciate it.
Of course I watch the show. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, closing bell overtime.
So we've seen the JOLTS numbers come in weaker. We've seen unemployment go up a little bit. But fundamentally, the jobs numbers are still very strong. And the consumer credit, for example, is deteriorating a little bit, but only a little bit, only at the margin, only the sub 640 FICO scores. You're not seeing it broadly. So for now, the fiscal stimulus is pulling back a little bit. Monetary looks okay. And so from a risk perspective, the consumer, which drives this market, which drives this economy, is in okay shape.
Would it be fair to say that the Boston Celtics are the NVIDIA of the sports world because they didn't just win, they dismantled their opponents?
Well, I can only hope that the Red Sox are going to be in that same place despite being 12 games back.
What? How did that turn into all that? Anyways, former House Speaker Ryan on U.S. election. Let's see what he's got to say over here on Bloomberg Television. This one's a little bit longer. I might speed it up a little bit, but let's see what they got to say.
There's a lot to talk about. It feels like geopolitics and politics domestically and abroad are all over the place.
Good morning, Frenchie. Nice to see you as well. Yeah, I think they are all over the place. I'm here in London as vice chairman of Teneo, a CEO advisory firm. And we're basically advising our clients who see a lot of unpredictability on the horizon. And they're trying to scenario plan for which way various governments are going to go. It's a little easier to predict here, I think, than it is in my country, which is a razor-thin polling and election. And it's just hard to determine who's going to win the election. Therefore, you have to scenario plan on two different potential administrations.
So can you talk us about those scenarios? I mean, is it impossible to know who will win come November now?
Yeah, I think it's just too close to call. If you really want to look at it, if this thing is tied in polling going into the election, which is probably the likeliest of scenarios, because right now Trump is polling at peak, Biden is polling below his peak performance. Let's just assume Democrats come home at the end of the day, as they typically do. It's probably going to be a few 100,000 voters in about 5 or 6 states that will determine the outcome of this election. My state of Wisconsin is one of those. Trump won it by 25,000 votes out of 1.61 million cast in 2016, and then he lost it to Biden by 20,000 votes. It's just that close.
And this is what campaigning? What makes a difference? Is it,
Well, that's because they lost the ballot papers, right?
The candidates showing up, or is it big policies on the
turnout,
economy?
campaigning, candidates showing up, the ground game, as we describe it, and getting your turnout organization going. But really, at the end of the day, it comes down to the new swing voter in America, which is a suburban, college-educated swing voter. And let's go back to Wisconsin.
For the record, I am not a political guy at all. I don't give a shit, and I don't even know who this guy is.
For example,
if you guys don't like him, I apologize. I don't know who he is.
Million cast, 53,000 Wisconsinites, that's what we call ourselves, in the suburban part of Wisconsin, didn't vote for Trump, but voted for every other Republican on the ballot. And then 20,000 of those 53,000 voted for Biden, giving him the 20,000 margin of victory that he got. It's just that close. It's probably going to be Arizona, Nevada, Wisconsin, Michigan, Georgia, Pennsylvania.
So too close to call. What happens if Donald Trump is in the White House?
Right. So on tax policy, personally, I think it will be much better, and a lot of executives see it that way, because you have to remember that our tax law that we wrote in 2017, the individual side of that tax code has many expiring provisions, some of which hit small and medium-sized businesses, and then we have some corporate provisions like research and development tax credit, expensing provisions. Those are all up for grabs. The next presidency will help determine what happens there. So Trump's going to be more pro-business on taxes. Biden is proposing to get rid of those things. And then it comes to tariffs. Trump's proposing a lot of tariff increases. Biden hasn't reduced the Trump tariffs. He's continued those tariffs. But I don't think he's proposing a whole new range of tariffs with respect to everything but China. On China, you basically have a bipartisan consensus.
So you've called Donald Trump unfit for office. Are you surprised at the amount of money?
But everything except for from China? What?
Of Wall Street titans behind Trump?
No, because I think it's too close to call, and I think people are basically trying to hedge their bets and decide. They don't know who's going to win the White House. So I think they want to basically make sure that they understand which direction the country's going to go and which administration, which they do not know will take place. That's what we basically help our clients at Teneo do, which is, what's trade going to look like under this administration? What are regulations going to look like? What's mergers and acquisitions and antitrust going to look like, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And right now, it's just too tight to see, so you have to plan for both contingencies.
Okay, how much?
Max Voltage in the chat said he was the Speaker of the House, that's all, only second in line to the presidency. Interesting.
How often do you get asked about budgets and the debt ceiling?
Yeah, that's my hobby horse. That's my biggest. That's what I used to do in Congress. Fiscal policy is my thing. I'm very concerned about this. The reason one of the reasons why I'm frustrated, like many Americans, about our choices for president is neither is proposing to do anything about a coming debt crisis in our country. Our debt is already as large as our economy. It's going to go nowhere but twice as big as that. And so we have an entitlement problem, which is these entitlement programs are going bankrupt by the end of the decade. And so no one's proposing to solve that. We have to get ahead of that. Otherwise, we're going to have a debt crisis in America. And it's not inconceivable to have a Treasury auction failure in a short period of time.
So what's a short period of time? Like in the next 6 months, 12 months?
No,
is it a
would
big
probably
credit
be after we're done cutting interest rates. So if you're going into an interest rate cutting environment, you're going to be able to sell your bonds. Jay Powell just said he's going to do only one rate cut this year. Let's just assume it's in December. And then a number of rate cuts, if all things work according to plan, in 2025. So the question is, let's just assume, say, 2026, it's really hard hard to put a finger on these things. Do we have clarity in our fiscal policy? Have we done what we need to do to get our balance sheet in a good place? And right now, both of our candidates for president aren't proposing to do a single thing about it. I think the only shot we have, given that political reality, is perhaps an entitlement commission, but one with teeth that requires Congress to vote on it. I served on Bull Simpson the last time we had one of these things, and it could be ignored by the president and Congress, and it was. So you have to have an entitlement commission that says Congress is going to have to vote on this, up or down, no filibuster, no amendments, and then hopefully you have a president that's willing to accept its results, if provided they're substantial. And that's, in my opinion, the best way we get out of, short of Congress actually doing its job in fixing this problem, that's the way we get out of the ditch.
What are the chances of Congress actually taking a more, I guess, fiscally responsibly approach and trying to fix it?
Well, you have to remember we have to have economic growth. And if you have a massive tax increase on businesses and individuals, you can really harm growth. My guess is we're going to have divided government of some form. Okay. It's pretty clear to me that we're going to win the U.S. Senate because of the way the Senate map is laid out. So let's just assume, for the sake of argument, we have divided government. I think that's the likeliest assumption. And then you're going to have a negotiation on tax policy in the next session of Congress. And what that looks like is basically what we try to help scenario plan. But that's definitely going to happen. One thing people don't in the content understand as much is most of our businesses are not taxed as corporations. They're taxed as individuals. Right. And that provision that lowers their tax rates so that their tax rates are commensurate with corporations, the larger companies, goes away. So you could have a tax rate on small businesses, medium-sized businesses, as high as 46% in this, 44.6% in America, and that would be a massive tax increase on businesses. I don't think anybody wants to see that happen, but there's not clarity as to whether or not they're going to fix this or not.
Paul, when you go around and speak to chief executives, what is the one thing that they actually underestimate? I don't know whether it's geopolitics. We have Putin also meeting with, North Korea's Kim Jong-un. Is that going to change trade relations across the world, and is that what we're underestimating?
I think uncertainty is the number one problem. So there's so much uncertainty. There's geopolitics, there's NATO, there's Ukraine, there's Putin, there's conflict with China. you have a war in the Middle East, and then also, by the way, you have a bunch of tariffs that are being proposed. So you just don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what antitrust laws are going to look like. If Biden gets a second term, is he going to double down on lots of regulations? So you just don't know. Not to mention all the geopolitical risks that are outside of any government's control. So that's what CEOs are trying to prepare for.
And what do you tell them? Just be nimble and prepared for
Yeah, here's what door 1 looks like. Here's what door 2 looks like. You want a contingency plan for both scenarios.
Yeah, but how impossible is it to say actually what door 1 looks like, given the unpredictability of Donald Trump in the past?
Without getting into all the details, I think on tax and regulatory policy, it's pretty predictable. On tariffs, just listen to what he's proposing. I think it's just that clear. And then you have to plan accordingly. On regulations with Biden, I don't think you should expect him to do anything different than what he's doing now, which is a lot of regulations. I think if Trump gets in, you'll have less regulations. So you have to go through all those kinds of scenarios.
What's your Republican Party going to look like? I mean, you were once one of the great hopefuls. Do you see still a place for you in it?
Well, I am still a Republican, of course. I consider myself an anti-establishment Republican. Trump has taken over the Republican Party. It's really a populism without any anchor to principles. I'm a big believer that you want your party pledging fidelity to a set of principles and policies that solve problems versus a person. And I don't think a personality-type politics is durable. So I do think at the end of the day, our party, like we have in the past, will have a big discussion about what we stand for. What are our ideas? What are our principles? And who are the best people capable of carrying those ideas forward? That's not the conversation we're having right now.
Right.
But he's going to, if Trump wins, he's a one-term president. He cannot have a second term because he already had one. So I just don't think it's durable, and I think we're going to have a real calling as to what we stand for.
And if he doesn't win, is that when you have that conversation?
Yeah, that happens sooner rather than later.
And who do you think? I mean, where do you see?
That's a good question. We have a great bench of talent. We have a lot of really good, effective governors. We've got a bunch of new people that have come to Congress. So I'm not worried about our depth of our talent pool. It's just the shadow that Trump casts over our party is dominant. And when that shadow goes, whether it's in 1 or 4 years, then you're going to have a more lively discussion about what is the conservative movement in America, what does the Republican Party stand for.
So crypto, you're also a believer, kind of a proponent of crypto. Where do you see it?
Well, I think blockchain has a lot of use cases.
Right. For central banks?
Yeah, so, what I proposed the other day is that we should advance stablecoin legislation because stablecoins actually creates a lot of new demand for U.S. debt. So we talked just a minute earlier about potential Treasury auction failures. Well, it would be nice if we created more demand for our debt, and if we had a law, which there's bipartisan support for in Congress, to advance stablecoins. I think that helps put the dollar in the digital world. Right. It helps give people who have bad currencies in some countries digital dollars, and it creates new demand for our debt. So I think there are a lot of good, interesting, exciting use cases for blockchain, for Web3. Stablecoins is one of them, and I think it actually helps solve some of our fiscal problems as well.
Does that happen under Trump or Biden?
Yeah, I think it happens under either because it has bipartisan support. It's really a matter of if, not when.
Yeah, he's probably not wrong. It's definitely if not when. All right, let's see over here. Last but not least, major altcoin sinks amid border crypto pullback. Let's see what they got to say over here on CNBC television. Let's do it.
Bitcoin back under $65,000 today for the first time in more than a month. What is driving this? You know, it's been on kind of a downtrend, so it wasn't like a sudden drop or anything. But what is driving things right now, and where do you see things going?
Hold on, I'm gonna bring this back a little bit. I was trying to skip the price stuff, but I guess they talked a little bit before that. Let's do it.
We really pointed to geopolitical issues and to general market pressures. You've got the elections here in the US and around the world, macroeconomic uncertainty that central banks around the globe are fighting, and the fact that trading volumes are just historically lower in the summertime. CryptoQuant also says that there's little downside for Bitcoin right now, but there's also little bullish sentiment on the upside. Now, this all goes back to something we've been hearing for a while now, that it might take some time before Bitcoin hits new all-time highs. Those factors are also hitting altcoins, with Solana, XRP, and meme tokens like Dogecoin also taking losses as investors pivot from riskier positions. I wrote about the crypto market today and current investing trends. You can head over to cnbc.com/cryptoworld to read more. All right, let's jump right into our main story. With the recent decline in prices for Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, I chatted with Brian Dixon, CEO of Off the Chain Capital, about what's pushing the crypto market lower and what could turn things around. Bitcoin back under $65,000 today for the first time in more than a month. What is driving this? You know, it's been on kind of a downtrend, so it wasn't like a sudden drop or anything. But what is driving things right now, and where do you see things going from here?
I actually think where Bitcoin is standing today is quite normal for where it should be a few months after the halving, in my experience. So I've been in the space since 2012, and I think the way that things are moving right now and the volatility is actually quite normal. A lot of times people don't really understand the difference between price and value. But one of the things that we use is models to help us understand what that price could be at a given point in time. One example would be trendline analysis, which actually indicates that Bitcoin should be worth over $148,000 today. Stock to flow is another model that says Bitcoin should be worth over $100,000 today. And the Bitcoin power law model says Bitcoin should be worth around $71,000 today. So if you look at these models, it actually indicates that Bitcoin is very undervalued from where it should be at today. So you really got to know the difference between price and value. The price is going to move around, but what is the value of Bitcoin? Some people think it's worthless. Other people think it's priceless. I'm in the camp that over time, I believe it'll be proven out that Bitcoin is a priceless technology. But as the price moves around, it's going to be very volatile, and we will see in time. But you really have to understand that difference between price and value.
We have a bunch of new investors in the market this year after the launch of ETFs. Talk to me about the different narratives that are at play right now and what investors are focused on. The models and the charts and the trends and the technicals. I love how they take me away from the narrative and kind of just, give me a fuller picture of what's going on. But what are some of the key narratives that you're following right now?
I think some of the key narratives in regards to what investors are thinking with the ETFs is, what's going to happen next. So we had some tremendous inflows early on when the ETFs were launched earlier this year. And I think we're going to see a much larger amount of allocations happen towards the tail end of this year and early next year. And the reason I think that is because if we look at the biggest allocators in the world, these are sovereign wealth funds, endowments, pension plans, foundations. It can take them 8 to 12 months or longer just to accomplish the due diligence on making an investment. So first they've got to do their research and do their due diligence. Then they've got to move through their investment mandates and investment committees. Then they have to educate their clients, and then the allocations happen. So a lot of these big allocators are still in this process because these ETFs were just launched earlier this year. So that's going to take them time to move forward with this so they can actually get everything ready and the infrastructure set up and all of their boxes checked before they can actually make these allocations. So if we look at it from that perspective, the largest allocations, in my opinion, in these ETFs haven't even occurred yet, and it will likely be later this year, early next year. Another very important narrative that I think people need to pay attention to is how the political tides have changed recently. So before, the Democratic Party was very anti-crypto, and now we're seeing Trump that's being very pro-crypto, saying he wants to build a crypto army. We're seeing RFK Jr., who's very pro-crypto as well. Well, the Democratic Party is starting to change their tune as well. That's a huge narrative shift coming from the current administration. And I think that's going to be a very big topic with this being an election year. And as that continues to play out, we have a lot of single issue voters. There's over 50 million crypto holders in the United States. And a lot of these people are single issue voters. So if you don't support crypto, you will not get the vote. And so with that, I think it's going to be such an important political competition in who can be the most supportive to this emerging technology and asset class to garner those votes. That's a really important narrative to pay attention to as well.
It's been amazing to see crypto in the spotlight when it comes to watching these two campaigns and their messaging. As a catalyst for the price of Bitcoin, how much weight do you give the upcoming election?
So Bitcoin historically has gone through its own cycles, regardless of the election or not. Usually 12 to 18 months following the Bitcoin halving cycle is the best time to be exposed to the space, and that's to generate all the performance. So this has happened independent of an election. So when we add the ETFs on top of that, which creates an easier on-ramp for people to get exposure to the asset, and we add things like a change in political party that could be much more supportive to the asset, I think that's just going to amplify the performance of what could happen in time. Now, with that, something I think that's very important to look at is that if we have a new administration take office, that's also likely going to shake up the regulators, right? Because when a new president takes office, he's going to change who he wants to be at the helm of these different organizations. And that's what we've seen historically. And so if that occurs, that could actually be a very favorable thing for the digital asset space. And so if we do see that change in administration, I would look at that as a large net positive to the space as well.
Let me go back to ETFs for a sec. Last week, we saw the ETFs break a streak of 20 consecutive days of inflows, and now we've had 3 consecutive days of outflows. We've been talking about the drivers and the price action and price versus value. How do you look at the flows of ETFs versus the movement of the price? What do you make of the recent action that we've seen with the inflows and the outflows, and where do you see that going?
I actually think it's pretty normal. I mean, when you're looking at the asset, there's always going to be the risk on asset investors in the space that are going to be trying to trade around different events and different sentiments and different narratives. But I think the volatility is completely normal. Let's look historically at Bitcoin. So Bitcoin in bull markets typically drops 20 to 30% multiple times through a bull market cycle, right? So if we look back to 2017 bull market, Bitcoin dropped 20 to 30% over 10 times and still reach new all-time highs. And then
real quick, Next Level Tech, thank you for becoming a VIP member, dude. You're awesome. Thank you very much. Make sure you link your Discord with YouTube or YouTube with Discord, and you'll get access to the private chat.
The 2020-2021 bull market, Bitcoin dropped 20 to 30% 4 times and then still reach new all-time highs. So without the volatility, you don't get the performance. And I think this is a feature, not a bug. And most of the volatility happens on the upside. And generally, people aren't complaining on volatility when it happens on the upside. They're trying to protect against the volatility on the downside. And if we look at Bitcoin compared to Amazon back in 2000, I mean, Amazon dropped 80% several times. And look where that organization is today. So I really think that Bitcoin is going through price discovery, where the world is trying to really understand what the technology is worth. Some people think it's worthless, like I said before. Some people think it's priceless. We're seeing some of that sentiment with the shifts in the ETF outflows and inflows. That, in my opinion, is mostly risk on investors. And Bitcoin long-term, I do not think is a risk on asset. Bitcoin is a store of value. It is a insurance from war. I think it's a very, very important asset that the vast majority of the world still does not understand. But as people begin to comprehend what Bitcoin actually is, I think we're going to see much more steady inflows in the long term.
And then final thing for me, let's look at altcoins for a second. Big down moves in the altcoin market today. Is it that Bitcoin is leading here and we're just seeing kind of outsized moves from the alts, or is there a different catalyst here?
So I think that's one potential factor. Historically, altcoins are more volatile than Bitcoin. They always have been. So one thing to consider is that Bitcoin now has a significant backstop with these ETFs. So Bitcoin should be more stable. It's also a lot easier to access Bitcoin with the ETF. You can just log into your traditional brokerage account. You can invest with a click of a couple buttons. It's very easy and streamlined. It has a new easy on-ramp to get exposure to it. So that's also that really ease of use backstop with it. But logically, altcoins should be more volatile because it's a lot more challenging to get exposure to altcoins for most people. And when you think about the market cap of crypto, around 55% of the entire crypto market cap today is Bitcoin. And it's the deepest and most liquid market. So things outside of Bitcoin are generally just going to have more volatility for the very fact that Bitcoin makes up the vast majority of the market anyway.
Interesting. Shout out to CNBC Television for that. All right, let's move on to the videos segment of things. Just gonna watch Mr. Altcoin Daily over here real quick. Rud Puts, thank you for the 249 euro. Appreciate you. He said, like to see DJ scream let's go with a bunch of beer emojis. Dude, you're awesome. Thank you so much for keeping the stream alive. All right, again, moving on to Altcoin Daily. Let's see what they got to say over here. Turn $1,000 into 1 million. My retire early Bitcoin strategy. Let's see what he's got to say over here, and then we're going to move on and raid Miss Randy Hipper. Let's see what we got to do.
Donald Trump, Larry Fink, and Joe Biden are about to pump crypto markets higher than we've ever seen them. You are going to be and feel richer than you've ever felt before. Generational crypto wealth is on the horizon.
Hope so.
It is not too late. Now and over the next month or so is the time to get in. I sent this information to my closest friends. I wish they understood what I'm about to share with you. If you're interested in making money in crypto, subscribe to Altcoin Daily for daily crypto info. Let's talk first about Larry Fink and the Bitcoin ETFs as a whole. These ETFs have been wildly successful, and the best is still yet to come. ETF buying pressure is about to really heat up. Brian Dixon, CEO of The Chain Capital, explains this. Listen.
So we had some tremendous inflows early on when the ETFs were launched earlier this year. And I think we're going to see a much larger amount of allocations happen towards the tail end of this year and early next year. And the reason I think that is because if we look at the biggest allocators in the world, these are sovereign wealth funds, endowments, pension plans, foundations.
Again, thank you, Rude Puts, for that, DJ. I absolutely love that clip. It's so funny.
It can take them 8 to 12 months or longer just to accomplish the due diligence on making an investment. So first, they've got to do their research and do their due diligence. Then they've got to move through their investment mandates and investment committees. Then they have to educate their clients, and then the allocations happen. So a lot of these big allocators are still in this process because these ETFs were just launched earlier this year. So that's going to take them time to move forward with this so they can actually get everything ready and the infrastructure set up and all of their boxes checked before they can actually make these allocations. So if we look at it from that perspective, the largest allocations, in my opinion, in these ETFs haven't even occurred yet, and it will likely be later this year, early next year.
Another hugely important narrative is Donald Trump, Joe Biden, and Bobby Kennedy, all running for president, all trying to win the vote of the crypto community, which is now larger than ever.
Another very important narrative that I think people need to pay attention to is how the political tides have changed recently. So before, the Democratic Party was very anti-crypto, and now we're seeing Trump that's being very pro-crypto, saying he wants to build a crypto army. We're seeing RFK Jr., who's very pro-crypto as well. Well, the Democratic Party is starting to change their tune as well. That's a huge narrative shift coming from the current administration. And I think that's going to be a very big topic with this being an election year. And as that continues to play out, we have a lot of single issue voters. There's over 50 million crypto holders in the United States. And a lot of these people are single issue voters. So if you don't support crypto, you will not get the vote. And so with that, I think it's going to be such an important political competition in who can be the most supportive to this emerging technology and asset class to garner those votes. That's a really important narrative to pay attention to as well.
So again, I emphasize, now is the time to get into crypto before something like this happens. I'm going to be releasing another top altcoin video soon. Make sure you subscribe. But this is your warning. Bitcoin and crypto in a month or two. I mean, nobody can predict the future, but it is my strong opinion that crypto markets will be rallying as hard as they ever have been, and now is the time to get in. Here, Brian Dixon lists exactly why now is the time to get in.
Bitcoin historically has gone through its own cycles, regardless of the election or not. Usually, 12 to 18 months following the Bitcoin halving cycle is the best time to be exposed to the space, and that's generated all the performance. So this has happened independent of an election. So when we add the ETFs on top of that, which creates an easier on-ramp for people to get exposure to the asset, and we add things like a change in political party that could be much more supportive to the asset, I think that's just going to amplify the performance of what could happen in time. Now, with that, something I think that's very important to look at is that if we have a new administration take office, that's also likely going to shake up the regulators, right? Because when a new president takes office, he's going to change who he wants to be at the helm of these different organizations. And that's what we've seen historically. And so if that occurs, that could actually be a very favorable thing for the digital asset space. And so if we do see that change in administration, I would look at that as a large net positive to the space as well.
Look, I know the market is down. I know the price is chopping around. I know a lot of you are unsure about what's to happen next in crypto. Look, the smartest people are either buying here or continuing to hold. This is an opportunity for you. Listen.
Let's look historically at Bitcoin. So Bitcoin,
I'm gonna be honest, I didn't realize he was gonna watch the same exact thing that we just watched in the last video.
Bull
So I
markets
apologize.
typically drops 20 to 30% multiple times through a bull market cycle, right? So if we look back to 2017 bull market, Bitcoin dropped 20 to 30% over 10 times and still reach new all-time highs. And then in the 2020-2021 bull market, Bitcoin dropped 20 to 30% 4 times and then still reach new all-time highs. So without the volatility, you don't get the performance. And I think this is a feature, not a bug. And most of the volatility happens on the upside. And generally, people aren't complaining on volatility when it happens on the upside. They're trying to protect against the volatility on the downside. And if we look at Bitcoin compared to Amazon back in 2000, I mean, Amazon dropped 80% several times. And look where that organization is today. So I really think that Bitcoin is going through price discovery, where the world is trying to really understand what the technology is worth. Some people think it's worthless, like I said before. Some people think it's priceless. We're seeing some of that sentiment with the shifts in the ETF outflows and inflows. That, in my opinion, is mostly risk on investors. And Bitcoin long term, I do not think is a risk on asset. Bitcoin is a store of value. It is a insurance from war. I think it's a very, very important asset that the vast majority of the world still does not understand. But as people begin to comprehend what Bitcoin actually is, I think we're going to see much more steady inflows in the long term.
So
again, think of it as property, not as in just a coin, right? If you think of it as property, it's like, how many houses do you own, right? It's a good way to look at it, because Bitcoin is going to be so hard to reach in the near future. It's going to be unbelievable.
The big question, what is the expert price prediction? And let's be real. What is the fair value of Bitcoin based on fundamentals? Because let's understand this. Price is one thing, it varies, but value is another thing. Hey, make sure you get your tickets for Bitcoin Nashville. Use code AltcoinDaily for 10% off. We will be speaking on stage there. You get generational wealth.
No one cares.
The problem is, most people don't know that Bitcoin will be over 100K this cycle. And again, if any of us knew the future, we'd all be rich.
That.
Anything can happen.
We hope that.
Is over a 100K Bitcoin still possible? Subscribe and comment. Listen to this.
I actually think where Bitcoin is standing today is quite normal for where it should be a few months after the halving, in my experience. So I've been in the space since 2012, and I think the way that things are moving right now and the volatility is actually quite normal. A lot of times people don't really understand the difference between price and value. But one of the things that we use is models to help us understand what that price could be at a given point in time. One example would be trendline analysis, which actually indicates that Bitcoin should be worth over $148,000 today. Stock to flow is another model that says Bitcoin should be worth over $100,000 today. And the Bitcoin Power Law model says Bitcoin should be worth around $71,000 today. So if you look at these models, it actually indicates that Bitcoin is very undervalued from where it should be at today. So you really got to know the difference between price and value. The price is going to move around. But what is the value of Bitcoin? Some people think it's worthless. Other people think it's priceless. I'm in the camp that over time, I believe it'll be proven out that Bitcoin is a priceless technology. But as the price moves around, it's going to be very volatile, and we will see in time. But you really have to understand that difference between price and value.
Yeah, and I don't think that he's wrong at all. All right, awesome. Let's recap things for anybody that might just be joining here. Let me get out of this thing. All right, let's see. Bitcoin, look at that, in the green. Finally, 65,251 bucks. Got Ethereum at 35.47. AVAX is doing pretty well today. up 5.69% to $27. We got BNB just under $600. Solana at $137. Near is over $5 just by a little bit. We have ETC almost $24. Let's see, Caspa 14.5 cents, just about. Dogecoin 12.5 cents. Pepe is up at 9.94%. Guys, be careful. There's a lot of scam artists in the chat and in the comments and stuff talking about Pepe and some other bullshit coins. Just please ignore all that stuff if you see it. It's just, you can't stop all the bots. It's crazy. Link $14 over here, $14.25. Actually, Uniswap is up 6.91% to $10. Link's up 6.92%. Lido's up 20.4%, which is crazy. Everything's looking really good, guys. Looking really, really good. Just kind of floating along, holding steady in the range. We're all range bound with everything, and we will see an explosion towards the end of the year. You know, once we get to like August, September, October, that's when things start really like picking up. But yeah, no, Crypto KJ, I got it. I don't think he was a bot. It was just somebody trying to pump Pepe. But just in general, like after the fact, I noticed after my lives are over, I get like a million comments, like all these bots just like comment all this bullshit. So just please pay no attention to that stuff. I try to block all the words, but it's hard. Anyways, yeah, everything looks really good. Fetch is up. Fetch AI is up 20.6%. Brett's up 9.7. AGIX up 19.3. Sorry, did I say 9? I meant to say 19.7. A Cash Network up 15.5. ENS up 19.1. Again, Flashbang Fear and Greed Index is at a 64. We're looking very, very healthy, in my opinion. Anyways, guys, listen, we're gonna go raid Miss Randy Hipper. I hate going over this hard, but unfortunately, you guys know I gotta stream at a new time now with the kids going to camp and stuff, and it's gonna set me up for like school. Anyways, I gotta get the daughter to school. So yeah, you guys have a great, happy, and safe Wednesday. It's gonna be hot as shit out, at least in the East Coast for me, up in Massachusetts. So it's supposed to be like 96 today. So guys, stay cool. Obviously, drink a bunch of water. You guys stay safe. I'll catch you guys bright and early tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, peace out.